Even if our social media presence is extraordinary, even if our SEO efforts have moved our site to the top of Google's result page, even if our AdWords campaigns are excellent, that doesn't necessarily mean that our business is profitable. Having visitors to our site is not enough. After all, our goal is to maximize our profits. Getting enough visitors is just a means to that end. If our e-shop is not user-friendly, if it doesn't compel our visitors to buy, our sales will be close to zero. So how can we get more sales? How can we make sure that our e-shop is user-friendly and optimized to get as many conversions as possible? The truth is that it's not an easy task, nor is it something that you set and forget. E-commerce optimization is something that never stops. It is a continuous process, not something you do once. Nevertheless, there are some basic principles that we can follow, which always give very good results. How successful an e-shop is depends to a large degree on which platform it is built with. The most popular choices are Magento, CS-Cart, OpenCart, PrestaShop, Woocommerce. Of course, there are many others, but these are the most recognized and well-performing platforms. Each one has its advantages and disadvantages, and naturally none of them is perfect. It always depends on what each business wants to achieve. Let's begin with Magento, which is highly recommended for many reasons. Firstly, it is completely customizable, as long as the developer who builds it has the necessary technical background. It is a very flexible platform with unlimited plugins that can add whichever function is needed, and of course it is SEO friendly. However, it also has a few disadvantages. To begin with, it is a little expensive and it is difficult to implement for less than $3,000 or $4,000. Also, the programmers who are knowledgeable in this particular platform are relatively few. Ideally, you would need to find someone that has a Magento certification. In other words, to have passed all the relevant exams from the organization that developed Magento. Magento eShops, by the way, cannot be hosted just anywhere. It is advisable to choose hosting services that can fully support Magento. Two of these are SiteGround and Site5. If you want a Magento platform built by a certified developer, one that is fully optimized not only for sales but also for SEO, and can load quicker than any other e-shop, you can contact me at smc@socialmediacoach.gr. In order to achieve high functionality and simultaneously solve the problems that Magento usually raises, I've worked with many different developers. The result from this work is a platform that retains both the flexibility and the advantages of Magento, but without any of its disadvantages. This platform has already been used by many e-shops with great success. The fact that it doesn't need to be built from scratch means that the time needed to have it up and running will be the shortest possible. It is also conversion optimized. So if you need a ready-made e-shop in no time that will give you high sales but without spending a fortune, just send an email to smc@socialmediacoach.gr. CS-Cart is a fairly popular e-commerce platform with many advantages. Firstly, similar to Magento, it is open source. There are several developers who are familiar with it and who can install and customize it. Unlike Magento, it is less complicated to set up. If you have some basic knowledge of website development, you may even be able to install it by yourself. Because it is one of the simplest e-commerce platforms, the installation and configuration costs are usually much less than Magento. It features a lot of add-ons and extensions which improve its functionality and let you customize the platform as you wish. Nevertheless, CS-Cart has some drawbacks. The company responsible for its development is the Russian Symbursk Technologies Limited, and although it has good developers, it is relatively small. This means that updates are sometimes late, and many people don't consider it reliable. There have been many complaints about bugs in the code, which have either been slow to be fixed or even not fixed at all. OpenCart is a platform for e-shops that was very popular in the past. Nowadays, not many people use it, but that doesn't stop it from being a good platform. Its advantages include that it's open source, free, and quite easy to install. It is also very fast and fairly reliable, although not as robust as Magento. It is also easy to upgrade. The back-end, i.e. the administrator interface, is user-friendly, and it has many add-ons that provide extra functionality. It is also secure and stable. If your requirements are not very high and you only need a simple eShop, OpenCart is a good source. However, it is advisable to be very careful about the add-ons that you install. As the source code of OpenCart is quite simple, there are many people making add-ons for it. This results in many of the add-ons being clumsily written and full of bugs. You should therefore use only add-ons that you have thoroughly checked and ensured are reliable. Otherwise, your online store may have bugs, issues, and problems. PrestaShop is a rising and promising e-commerce platform. It is also open source and is user-friendly. Although it may take you some time to become familiar with the back end, it is also relatively easy to install. Its advantages are no great demands on memory and processing power. This means that you will not need to pay extensive hosting packages to operate it, and it can run comfortably in shared hosting packages. It has good technical support. Upgrades are quite easy. It has a large and organized development and support community. Not as big as Magento, but certainly significant. Its disadvantages are: the main disadvantage of PrestaShop is that it's not SEO optimized. In other words, PrestaShop sites usually don't appear very high on Google's search results. It also lacks a great deal of functions that other platforms have out of the box. This means that if you need extra functionality, you'll have to install some extra modules. Without this being a deal breaker, PrestaShop has several bugs in its code. Nothing catastrophic, of course, but sometimes it can be frustrating. PrestaShop modules can also be somewhat expensive. This means that the total cost of using this platform may be higher than expected. Moreover, PrestaShop is not known for its ability to scale. This means that if at some point you decide to significantly expand your online store with additional products and categories, chances are that you will run into difficulties. As in the case of OpenCart and CSCart, PrestaShop is a good choice if you want a simple online store without many bells and whistles. Woocommerce is a WordPress plugin which transforms your WordPress CMS into an e-commerce platform. Although it sounds like a rush job, it is actually quite a serious approach with several advantages. The main one is that it is easy to install. Even if you can't do it yourself, you will find many people who are familiar with WordPress who will be able to install this plugin for you, even if they are not professional programmers. This means that you can create a WooCommerce eShop quickly and at minimal cost. It is also quite user-friendly for both the visitors and the administrators, and its back end is easy to work with. Its advantages also include that it is very secure and reasonably SEO-friendly. WooCommerce also has many plugins that give it increased flexibility regarding SEO. Although it's not very robust yet, the fact that it is based on WordPress and is used and supported by many people means that it has excellent documentation and that whatever problems you may encounter can be solved relatively easily. There are also plenty of themes and templates that are WooCommerce ready. This fact, combined with this ease of installation, means that you can have an online store in no time. Despite its many advantages, WooCommerce is still just a WordPress add-on. This means that it has limited capabilities, and if you need special functions, you may be disappointed. Furthermore, although based on WordPress and growing rapidly, it still lacks the maturity and robustness of Magento. If you have a relatively small company and just want to experiment while keeping costs low, WooCommerce is a good choice. If you believe, however, that in the near future you will expand and therefore need something more robust, it might not be the best solution for you. When you have an online store, time is one of your greatest enemies, and simplicity is your major ally. If the steps that the visitors have to take in order to place their order are many, then the transaction process lasts longer. Longer durations mean that the percentage of people that will abandon their shopping cart without buying anything is going to be higher. The reason for this is that having to complete a never-ending process of steps in order to make a purchase is always frustrating. Furthermore, even if going from one step to the other is not difficult, it takes some time. That means that during the checkout process, the telephone may ring, a baby may cry, the internet connection may be lost. Your boss may enter your cubicle, or your neighbor may come around to borrow some sugar. If anything like this happens, the checkout process will be interrupted, and most importantly, the user may never return to our eShop to complete the purchase. What does this mean? First of all, that our eShop should load very quickly. We have already talked about this while discussing the topic of SEO. Furthermore, the checkout process should be as fast and simple as possible. Ideally, we should install a one-click checkout module so the user can perform the transaction quickly and easily. Big and flashy Add to Cart buttons in our eShop may initially seem to be insignificant or trivial, but experience has proved otherwise. The image that the user must click to add her selected product to the cart must be sharply distinguishable in relation to the rest of the site. Before we go live with our eShop and before we complete it, we must conduct usability tests. This means asking friends and acquaintances to visit our online store and make demo purchases. Then we ask them to tell us about their experience, whether they encountered any difficulties and what they did or did not like. We pay close attention to their feedback. For usability testing, two categories of people are required. The first are those with enough familiarity with computers, the internet, and online shopping. They, because of their experience, will highlight details that we may have missed. They will see what is missing or what errors exist in the design of our eShop. The second category is the most important one. In this category, we will include all the people who are not really experienced with the internet and with e-commerce sites. These are the people who will help us spot all the usability problems that exist in our eShop. Ideally, we should ask them to make online purchases while we are present, so that we can observe where they face difficulties. If possible, it is advisable to use a screencast program through which we can record the whole process. Then we can use these video recordings to study every detail of each transaction and identify any obstacles or difficulties that the user encountered. Important. It must be emphasized that it is the eShop that is being tested and not its visitors. That any of these people run into difficulties means there is a problem with our page and that they are not doing something wrong. This is a very important clarification, as people who have little familiarity with computers may feel stressed and not use the site as they normally would. After conducting extensive usability tests, we note down which steps or parts of the transaction process they have found to be difficult, confusing, or not self-explanatory. Even if only one person has a problem with a single small step of the process, we should still give this step our full attention. Our online store can be considered ready only and only when no one has any difficulty in using it, no matter how experienced or inexperienced they may be. Of course, usability testing is not easy and takes time, but it is a step that cannot be neglected. We must strive to make sure that our prospective customers can make their purchases without any hassle. Alternatively, if you do not want to get into this whole process, you can use the ready-to-use e-commerce platform we mentioned earlier. Send an email to smc@socialmediacoach.gr and you will have a fully search engine optimized and user-friendly e-commerce platform online in no time, which has been through extensive usability testing. Like any other site, an online store is not something static. It needs maintenance, upgrades, and updates. The most important actions are security fixes. Whichever platform you use, there will be updates from time to time in order to fix security issues that have been discovered. Apart from that, upgrades ensure that our online shop will operate in a better, faster way and with less bugs. Apart from fixing security issues and updates, an online shop also needs various changes over time. Maybe you will need to change the logo of your business, add or remove products, make some changes on how the e-shop looks, and so on. Most of them can usually be done without any advanced technical knowledge. For example, adding or removing products or price changes. Others may need a developer. So when you get a proposal from a company from the creation of your e-shop, make sure that there are some clauses regarding the cost of updates, security fixes, and maintenance. The most important of these is anything that relates to security patches. Make sure that these patches are implemented as soon as possible and without any delay. However, it is a good idea to make an overall agreement regarding the upkeep of your e-shop and its cost. Otherwise, you will most probably have to pay premium prices in order to make even the slightest change to your e-shop. It is also very important to back up your site. This can be done manually by your hosting company or via the server control panel or via the back end of your e-shop. In any case, you should take a backup of your e-shop at least twice a month, and always before making any significant changes or upgrades. Most online shops ask users to complete long forms that ask for every conceivable information detail. Although at first glance, having a lot of data regarding your customers seems to make sense, it is in fact very bad for sales. The more information we ask our customers to fill in, the longer it takes for the transaction to be completed. And as we mentioned earlier, longer transaction time means less conversions. Furthermore, long forms with many fields are tiresome and boring. This means that we need to keep things as simple as possible and make it easy for users to buy from us. There is no reason to have different fields for first name, surname, email, cell phone, home phone, street name, street number, region, city, postcode. Instead, the following fields are sufficient: full name, phone, address postcode, email. We don't need anything more than this information to fulfill an order. This means that the user can make a purchase in less time, and the chances that she will abandon her shopping cart without buying any are fewer. In some cases, it is advisable to add another field onto our form. It is the order comments field, which is useful for collecting special instructions from customers about how to prepare and deliver their order. Filling this field should be optional, of course. This enables the customer to inform us about any special requirements in the delivery time, when she will be home to receive the package, which bell the courier should ring, etc. On the other hand, it is yet another field for the user to fill out, even though it is optional. And as we have already highlighted, the fewer the fields the user has to fill, the better. There is no right or wrong answer whether to add this extra field. Some professionals do add it, some don't. It is completely up to you. Pay special attention to the privacy seal, which is next to the shipping details form. It is a good practice to have such a seal in every page of our site in order to make visitors feel that we do safeguard their data. This seal should be accompanied with the text, "We respect and protect the user's personal data." This icon also needs to be placed next to the form where the users enter their personal details in order to complete their purchase. Placement of the icon there will make the customer feel safe as well as confident that we will not sell her email address to anybody. It also shows that we are a company that follows and respects the relevant legislation regarding the protection of personal data. There are cases in which the privacy icon links to a page in our site that informs the visitor regarding the practices our company follows regarding the protection of our customers' personal data. However, this is not advisable. If the icon is a link, some people may click on it. That means that instead of completing their purchase, they will start wandering around your site. If they read something they don't like, or if they get disconnected from the internet, or their telephone rings, or anything else distracts them, you may lose the sale. So it's better to remove anything that can make a visitor exit the checkout process. The payment methods that we have on our online store are cash on delivery, COD, credit card, PayPal, deposit into a bank account. Payment through PayPal and payment by credit card must always be available, but payment by cash on delivery and via bank transfer are optional. Each of these methods has its advantages and disadvantages. The cash on delivery, COD method, has the advantage that it can be used by everyone, even if that person does not have a credit card or a PayPal account. Additionally, it greatly simplifies the buying process. The customer does not need to submit a credit card number or connect to PayPal to pay. She simply selects Cash on Delivery and clicks the checkout button. As we have already highlighted, the easier and faster the checkout process is, the more sales we get. The most important advantage of COD is that there is no need to convince the customer that she should trust us. The issue of trust is crucial to online and distance selling. The customer is buying something without knowing who we are and without first seeing or touching the object they're going to buy. This means they have to trust us. Trust that we will send them the product they ordered, in good condition and as soon as possible. Even for someone very familiar with buying online, a degree of mistrust and insecurity is always there. Through COD, we solve this problem. The customer does not have to pay before getting the product, and therefore we remove the transaction risk. While COD has these advantages, it also has a major drawback. A significant percentage of the people who order something via COD decline delivery when the goods arrive. That means that you, as the seller, are going to end up carrying the cost of shipping and handling for returned items. There are many reasons for this behavior. The person who made the order may change his mind and decide that she no longer needs the item, or she may have already spent the money needed to pay for the product. Furthermore, delivery agents are simply unable to get hold of the customer at the point of delivery, even after multiple attempts. In other words, the number of orders that are actually fulfilled is not as high as we would ideally want them to be. And yes, as we already mentioned, we, as merchants, still have to pay for the shipping and handling costs of these unfulfilled orders. A good way to lessen the impact of this problem is to give customers incentives to use another payment method instead of COD. Some sites, for example, offer a 5% discount for orders made by credit card or via PayPal. Another method is to place the COD option at the bottom of the payment methods list. Statistically, people are more likely to choose the default first choice in any list, so this way, less people are going to opt for COD. We can also have a policy of not dispatching COD orders immediately. A good practice is to wait 2 days and then contact the customer by telephone to confirm their order details and that they still wish to receive the item. In case you are wondering why you should wait for 2 days and not 1 or 3, the reason is that usually, if a customer has changed his or her mind, it would be by the next day after the purchase. Moreover, through a telephone call, we have transformed their order from a simple click on an impersonal site to a live transaction between two people. Once you talk with the customer and confirm that he or she still wishes to receive his or her order, they are more committed to do so. Thus it becomes more difficult for them to refuse the order once it arrives. Every online store should give its customers the option to pay with a credit card, not only because most people are now accustomed to making electronic purchases using credit cards, but also because it adds credibility to our site. In order for an e-commerce site to be able to accept credit card payments, it means that at least one bank has audited it and considered the company behind it, as well as its credentials, to be trustworthy. Not every company or website is considered trustworthy enough by the banks in order to conduct business with it. So the possibility of payment via credit card signifies that this particular online store can be trusted. The simplest solution that we can use in order to accept payment through credit cards for our online shop is Offsite payments. This method is also called redirection payment or redirect checkout or third-party secure form checkout. From the customer's point of view, it is almost the same process as usual. They add their chosen products to their shopping carts and click on the checkout button. But when they do it, they don't stay on our shop's page. They get redirected to the bank's page. There they enter their credit card details and pay. After the payment is made, the customer is automatically redirected back to the e-shop, where she is informed that the transaction has been completed successfully. The advantages are: this method allows you to process online transactions without capturing or storing users' financial data on your own servers. It's easy to implement, cheap, and there's a lower liability in case of security breaches and data leaks. The disadvantages are a lack of consistency and familiarity. Redirecting the user to a third-party website may make them worry about this sudden change. They may also hesitate to enter their credit card details, and as a result abandon the transaction, and a longer transaction time may result in less sales. An alternative and quite preferable solution is to use the iframe or embedded checkout method that many banks provide. The client completes their purchases from our online shop and begins the payment process. She is informed of the amount she has to pay and enters her credit card details. As the user is typing into this field, they are unaware that a portion of that element is an iframe. The payment is actually made on the bank's server. Sensitive credit card information is sent directly to the bank and does not enter our server. However, the user does not leave our site and does not know that the fields where she enters her card details are actually from the bank's server and not our own. The bank automatically informs us that the payment was made. The customer is informed that the transaction has been completed successfully. The advantages for this are that this method allows you to process online transactions without capturing or storing users' financial data on your own servers. It's easy to implement, but not as easy as redirect checkout. It's cheap, but more expensive than redirect checkout. There's a lower liability in case of security breaches and data links. Consistent user experience for your user. The user doesn't leave your site, and it has shorter transaction times. The disadvantages are not as easy to implement as redirect checkout. It's advised that your site should have an SSL connection, HTTPS, instead of a regular one. When people enter their card details, they need to know that the site they are visiting uses SSL. Strictly speaking, this is not necessary. The iframe that is embodied on your checkout page connects to the bank's servers via secure connection, SSL. Even so, the user does not know that you are using an iframe, so he doesn't know that entering his credit card details is safe. So you need to implement SSL on your site as well to make him feel comfortable. Depending on the e-commerce platform you are using and your developer's skills and experience, you may encounter technical difficulties with cross-domain scripting. In other words, some issues with loading parts from a third-party site, the bank's iframe, inside your site. Having the option for our customers to pay via PayPal is absolutely essential. There are many people that use it, and some of them only buy online using this method. Its implementation is easy, and even a developer with no experience will not have any problem installing it on your site. Nevertheless, there is an important detail to consider before you start accepting payments via PayPal. Make sure that the email that you use will open a PayPal account and is not a personal one but one from the domain of your store. For example, instead of using johnsmith@hotmail.com, you should use an email like this. This is because our customers will be seeing this email when making a payment. And again, this is to make visitors feel more comfortable and secure while making a transaction on our site. If the visitors see a personal email instead of a business one, they may think that your online store is being run by a high school student from his living room, and not by a respected company. So they will be less willing to buy anything from you. On the other hand, if they see an email from your site's domain, they will have no reason to worry. Bank deposits are the simplest method of payment, at least for the merchant. For the customers, it may not be as convenient, unless of course they are using web banking. If we add the option of bank deposits as payment method for our online store, we need to be aware of the following. Business bank accounts look more trustworthy to our clients than personal ones. If possible, use a bank account that has been registered with your company and not a personal one. For European banks, apart from the name of the bank, the account details must include an IBAN, international bank account number, BIC or SWIFT, bank identifier code, Society for Worldwide Interbank Financial Telecommunications. The name of the beneficiary, which, as already explained, should be the name of your company and not your personal details. We have already noted that even if a person is familiar with online orders, she will always be wary about entering her credit card information. With hackers and credit card fraud constantly in the news, providing credit card information is seen as risky by many consumers. Trust is what allows a customer to go from being a visitor to becoming a buyer. A user needs to trust a site in order to buy from that site. Therefore, it is very important to reduce the perceived risk for shoppers on your website. Security seals and trust badges from well-known and respectable internet security companies and business organizations like the Better Business Bureau help a lot. Unfortunately, most of these involve paying these companies for a membership for use of their service and seal. We must make clear to our visitors we are not a phantom store made out of thin air, but a reputable company, a company with a physical presence and a serious profile. The most significant way to enhance trust is by displaying the address of our physical location and contact information. A note that encourages visitors to call us if they encounter any problems is a good idea too. It is also advisable to accept orders over the phone. Many people prefer to do this rather than fill out information via a web form. Some customers may feel more comfortable and secure when talking to a real person than when interacting with a computer. According to the statistics, the number of people who call for help or make orders over the phone is very small. Nevertheless, placing our telephone number in a prominent place reassures visitors that at any moment they can seek help, and it eases their minds and inspires confidence in our online store. As we have already highlighted, trust plays a major role in e-commerce. In a study that measured online shopping behavior, over 70% of shoppers would abandon their shopping carts without completing their order, just because they didn't feel they could trust the website. Trust seals, sometimes called secure site seals, are essentially stamps of approval provided by a respected third party. They are more common on online stores or payment pages. They are usually in the form of a small image that is prominently displayed on a website to promote confidence and trust to visitors. Their purpose is to demonstrate to visitors that the site has addressed possible security issues and that it protects its customers' personal information. When shoppers feel confident, they are more likely to buy from a site. Trust seals come in all shapes and sizes, some of which even have animations. Each trust seal has a different function, which will depend on the company who grants its use. Some of them verify that a website is legitimate and the business behind it is authentic. Others indicate that the site connects over HTTPS and that data transmitted between the visitor's browser and the site's server is encrypted. As a rule of thumb, using a trust seal means that you will need to pay a significant amount of money. However, this is a worthwhile investment as it will significantly increase your sales. Furthermore, there's a way to place trust seals on your site for free. First of all, we need to add to our site a privacy seal icon. This privacy seal doesn't need to be granted from a third party. It simply needs to be an image that looks authoritative and states that we protect our customers' personal information. We also need to add to our site the logos of icons of the credit cards our visitors can use to pay, the logo of the bank that handles our online transactions, as well as the logo of PayPal. But why should we use all these logos? What is the point of these icons? Strictly speaking, these logos aren't actually trust seals. However, these icons do represent organizations that we all know and trust. They convey to visitors that your site has been verified by these trustworthy organizations. Therefore, it is safe and trustworthy itself. In addition to the above logos, we can use a few others as well. And did we mention that they are free? By going to, we can register and get this icon for free, which, when someone clicks on it, leads the user to the following screen. Correspondingly, we can get free icons by going to the following sites. These services confirm that your site contains no malicious software or other threats for the user. Although none of these are trust seals in the strict sense of the word, these icons can be used if they were regular trust seals. To locate the above icons, do the following searches on Google Images. Caution: usually trust seals are placed at the bottom of our eShop, in other words, in the footer of your site. However, things are different when it comes to the checkout page. There, the trust seals should be moved further up, very close to the forms that the client needs to fill in order to complete his order. The reason is to make clear that our eShop is safe, trustworthy, and reliable. We need to convince customers that they can trust us and that they can give their credit card and personal details without any reservation. Whilst using the free trust seals mentioned above means we do not have to spend money to buy any, there is one trust seal in which it is worth investing in. This is the Comodo EV Corner of Trust. This icon is a certification that our site is verified by Comodo, a cybersecurity company, and is using a secure SSL connection. What makes Comodo EV Corner of Trust special is that it remains ever present in the lower right corner of your site, regardless of monitor size or scrolling. When visitors mouse over your Comodo EV Corner of Trust, a small window appears to display information about your business. This helps establish credibility by letting them see that your business has been validated by a trusted third party. Additionally, it displays these vital identity details without distracting pop-ups or redirects, keeping your visitor on your site. Its cost is not high, as it does not exceed $100 per year, and it can be even cheaper if you buy a 2 or 3 year plan. Since we want to make visitors feel safe using our online store, Comodo Corner of Trust is a great solution at a reasonable price. A decisive factor regarding the success of our eShop is how our products are presented. We have already explained that in an online store, the customer can't sample the product with her hands and eyes. She only gets a general idea, looking at some photographs. Until she receives her order, she will not know exactly how the item she bought is going to look and feel. A way to solve this problem is to add as many high-resolution photographs as possible. Usually, the company that manufactures each product has such pictures available. Additionally, we may use video presentations of our products. We can embed such videos from YouTube or other similar video sites. Even if it is a video that another online store has produced, there is no problem in using it. The reason is that by using such videos, we are providing additional information to the visitor regarding our products, their specifications, and their use. Apart from photos and images, we should also include as much information and detail as possible about each product. Product description should be thorough and include every detail, including dimensions, weight, material, country of origin, technical specifications, etc. We can also check online stores who also sell these items in order to get an idea of the most comprehensive presentation possible. Also, if the user's manual is available in PDF format, it is a good practice to upload it to our site and have it available for download from the product page. Some products, electronics, tools, measuring instruments, etc., also have user guides and datasheets in PDF formats. These are very helpful in giving extra information about the item. Using the service, we can turn these PDFs into images and include them to each product's presentation. We can also add all of the certifications that the product has from official organizations. This will not only inform visitors about the quality of the product they are considering for purchase, but it will simultaneously convince them about our credibility. Such practices signify that we are trustworthy. Only a serious business would devote as much time and effort into offering its customers all available information in order to facilitate their decision. An order's shipping charges are one of the most significant factors for whether an online store will be profitable or not. Many users do not complete an online transaction when they see how much they need to pay to receive their order. Although there is no one-size-fits-all solution, there are several ways to make sure that the shipping cost will not be a deterring factor for those who want to buy from your site. First of all, if all of your products have a relatively high value, for example $70 to $80 and above, you should offer free shipping. It is preferable to slightly increase the selling price in order to accommodate for your company paying the shipping costs than to have that same amount as a separate charge that the customer has to pay. The reasons are many. First of all, free is an emotional short-circuit button that immediately reduces the mental barriers for the customer. Free makes people think that they have nothing to lose, since many ignore time as an investment. And it is good to make them feel so for our e-shop. This, of course, doesn't mean that we can put up a very high price on our products and hope that people are going to buy them because they will get free shipping. Ideally, we should reduce shipping costs as much as possible, usually by researching the courier delivery market thoroughly and negotiating with each company. After achieving the lowest possible price, we should examine what percentage of the shipping costs we can shoulder ourselves and to what extent we can increase the price of the product. The method described above makes sense when our products are relatively expensive. Then how about when our products are rather cheap? When, for example, the entire order usually does not exceed $30 to $35. When most orders from our online store do not exceed $35 to $50, we must first calculate the average amount of the orders that our customers are making. Let's say it is $31.50. After calculating this amount, we need to take two steps. The first is, no matter how low a price we manage to get from the courier company, we will need to assign shipping charges from our side at a relatively high price, for example $7 to $8. The second is to offer free shipping for orders over $35. But why do that? Why not have shipping costs as low as possible in order to make visitors more willing to buy from us? The reason is that this way we reduce low-volume orders. As a rule of thumb, it doesn't matter if an order is large or small. In both cases, it takes about the same time for orders to be fulfilled. Therefore, it doesn't pay to have a large number of small-volume orders. It is counterproductive. So if someone does decide to make a very small purchase, we are compensated for the fact by the high cost of shipping charges she has to pay. So let's say that the delivery company charges our company $3.50 for handling each order. Let's also say that we charge $8 for shipping an order that is less than $35. So we pocket the difference of $4.50. More importantly, what we will achieve by charging a high amount for shipping and at the same time by offering free shipping for orders of $35 and up is that we will increase the average amount of each order made through our online store. The reason is this. If the user has added products worth $31 in her shopping cart, she will have to pay a total of $39, as the shipping costs for orders lower than $35 are $8. But if she adds another product to her shopping cart, and then the total amount of the products inside it exceeds $35, the shipping of her order will be free. Thus, we indirectly persuade visitors to buy more from our store, and at the same time, customers feel more satisfied as they feel they got something for nothing. In this case, shipping and handling.